Welcome back to the Team to Beat Miami Heat podcast, your one-stop shop for daily Miami Heat content. My name is Amir. So for today's episode, I want to talk about ESPN's Shams Charania. Once again, he is back at it, talking about the Jimmy Butler potential trade opportunities and rumors and destinations that Jimmy would be willing to go to. And even one of his colleagues has come to his defense. Bobby Marks is defending the verbal assault from Jimmy Butler's agent, Bernie Lee, basically saying that Shams was lying, saying that he heard from insiders and sources that Bernie Lee has told teams that Jimmy is interested in going to the Suns, Mavs, Rockets, and Warriors. And so Shams basically said his Jimmy Butler story or news is the most vetted story he has ever released in his career. This is probably the most vetted story that I've ever put out, and I'm confident in this story. And I could play a clip for you of Shams on the Pat McAfee show, doubling down on that sentiment. 1 second.
You reported Jimmy Butler was basically going to get traded or was thinking about being traded, and then Jimmy Butler's agent kind of pooped on your head, basically saying, yeah, this guy's full of shit. He has no idea what he's talking about. You responded saying, hey, I stand on business. This is what I do. But what's going on here? What's the situation?
Yeah, the situation is I 1,000% stand on the reporting. This is probably the most vetted story I think I've ever put out. I'm that confident in this story. This is exactly where it is. The Heat are open to listening to trade offers for Jimmy Butler. That's what sources told me last week. That remains to be the case. There's no urgency, though. He's on a $49 million contract this year. He's got a $52 million player option for next year. And they don't really have much fear that if let's say he goes into free agency, they're not that fearful that there's a team out there that's going to be willing to give him, because there's only a few teams with cap space. So who's out there is going to give that to him? They're confident where they're at. The reporting that I had is that if he were to be moved, 4 destinations he would be open to, from what I'm told has been communicated around the league. That's the Mavericks, that's the Rockets, the Warriors, and then the Suns. And that all remains to be the case, 1,000%. And it's fully vetted.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you staying on business. Don't like this agent, try and take a shot at Shams when he's new to a senior insider position at a new place. Know that we're on your side. We respect and appreciate it. And why not Jimmy Butler to the Pacers? Ladies and gentlemen, senior NBA insider at ESPN, the handsome Shams Charania.
Yeah, so I don't know why Shams would be lying in this scenario, and he has nothing really to gain. There's no imminent information or new information, really. Like, the only new information is that, sure, Jimmy would be interested in going to the Suns, and the Suns, for some reason, have real interest in Jimmy Butler. And there's a report that came out, or a article that came out, basically saying that from Brian Windhorst, who was on the Hoop Collective. I made a video on this yesterday. Go check it out. Basically said, and by the way, I know the Suns have interest in Jimmy Butler. This is not a controversial statement. There's no secrecy around this. And so what is there for Shams to gain? It's not like he's saying Jimmy Butler only wants to go to this team and this trade is going to happen, according to sources, or the Miami Heat are going to trade Jimmy Butler. They're not going to retain him. There's no definitive direct information. So I'm not sure what the issue is. Of course, Bernie Lee, is Jimmy's agent. He's looking out for his player. He wants him to get the best contract possible because he gets 10% of that as well. So what's good for Jimmy, his client, is ultimately what is good for him and his pockets. And again, Bobby Marks was defending Shams, saying Bernie Lee, who is Jimmy Butler's agent, stole the show the other night as far as with his verbal, I don't even know what to call it, assault on Shams. I'm not going to really dive into it, but I would say this, that what Shams put out there, certainly with what he wrote in his really good article on NBA Pass on ESPN, and what was reported with Phoenix being a team that Butler would go to if he can't work out a deal with Miami, that was 100% accurate from all the people I've talked to and all the people he's talked to, 100% accurate. So I have no idea why Bernie Lee is or would go on a rampage that night, but it is what it is, and I'm not going to speak out on that. So it's not just Shams, it's other reporters and analysts and insiders that have basically come and said, hey, we're hearing through the grapevine that, and through the agent, through that grapevine, that Jimmy Butler would go to these destinations. That's totally fine. That makes total sense. But anyway, let me know what you think about this whole charade. With the trade deadline, a month and a half away, I feel like we're going to hear new Jimmy Butler news every single week. So we just got to deal with it. But anyway, I don't want to trade Jimmy Butler. I want him to stay with this Miami Heat team. Even if he doesn't win a championship or not, I still want Jimmy Butler on this team.